What is up, Facebook land? Timothy Wenger here from The Man Effect. Guys, gals, internet land, this is interview number 11, and I'm super pumped. I found a guy from Australia, and his name is Ryan Billy Tate, and I'm going to be bringing him on here in a second as everything slowly works out here. Super glad you guys are all here. Oh, what up, Justin Bailey? There he is. There is Ryan. All right, we're getting up. What's up, Blair? Hey, it's good to see you tuning in. My man, my man.
Here we go.
There we go.
Hello,
Oh,
hello.
yeah. What's up?
Hey, hey. Hey, Timothy, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you doing, Ryan?
Really, really cool. I'm very pumped up. I've really happy to connect with you and watched a little bit of the content today and yeah, been excited. Very excited.
Dude, I'm loving it. I'm so glad you were able to make a time. For everyone who doesn't know, I do these things very randomly in the sense that I find people randomly. And Ryan was down to do it this week, so I was pumped.
Beautiful.
Real quick, I'm going to just share this video in a couple groups.
Please
Ryan,
do.
if you could do me a favor and just kind of introduce yourself to everyone who's tuning in.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a self-confessed retired underachiever. I've worked no less than 30 jobs up until my late 30s. So I'm about to hit 40 next year. And yeah, up until possibly 2 years ago, I was looking at I had that shiny object syndrome where I thought a new job would give me that freedom in my life. I'd sort of gone from, hospitality. I'd got to manage a restaurant quite early, which I thought was a buzz, but realized it wasn't going to get me anywhere, unless you own the restaurant, I guess. And then I went from there to crayfishing. I stacked bricks in a night shift where the jig moves every 10 seconds. We'd have to get the amount of bricks in time, and then the jig would move every 10 seconds and you'd get the bricks in, and then at the end of the line would be a pack of bricks that they'd send out to the homes to build other homes. So we did that 9 at night till 5 in the morning, among other jobs as well. And then I found a health product and got into MLM, multi-level marketing, or direct sales, as they say, and found that vehicle really inspiring and interesting, and just didn't have that stigma around it that a lot of people do. I just thought, no, this is a vehicle where you're working towards something, but it's something towards yourself. And then since then, I've sort of branched off into cryptocurrencies and forex and different places like that as well. So, cool. But my goal is I'd love to be on the stage or something and just inspiring people. That I look at those sort of your Tony Robbins and your guys like that, your John C. Maxwell's and those sorts of guys that are actually shaking people out of their expectation to commute to work and spend 65% of their time with other people that they possibly don't like. When they could be at home with family or traveling or doing something else and actually following their passion. So I think those guys are really cool. I look up to them, and I finally feel like I've found that vehicle where people say I get along with people and I'm chatty and all those sorts of things, that I have those attributes. So hopefully I can eventually put them to good use and inspire people to leave the rat race if possible, or do what they want to do purpose-wise.
Yeah. So kind of what I understand is you're trying to move more towards, you could say, inspirational or motivational type of material.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a natural progression. When you're marketing different products, you don't want to just bombard people with sales things. So you kind of think, what value can I give? And it starts out as a bit of a selfish thing, I guess, where you're thinking, I want to give value. But then when you go to a barbecue and someone sort of that you don't even know watches your videos or the like and says, man, I really found that the one when you're on your bike riding, that was really cool. And I'm like, oh, okay. So people are maybe taking notice. So keep doing it, and I think that would be fantastic. Like, what a buzz. I used to play in a band towards the end of high school, and that adrenaline rush of being in front of a big group of people is it's better than any drug or alcohol or anything I've ever taken or to get a high. It's an amazing thing that can last for a long time after it's finished, and I think to do it and actually shake people out of just conforming and just doing the do would be just fantastic.
Dude,
that would be really cool.
That's awesome. I'm going to give a shout out real quick to Lisa and Ace. What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Also, Maz and Brett and Jovan. Really glad you guys are all tuning in here. Dude, I love it, man. I love that you want to inspire people and you're just going on your own journey and you're actually doing it. You're not just thinking about it. I really appreciate that in a man. I'm really curious. Are you ready to jump in here, or do you have anything else you want to say before we dive deep?
Well, I would love to flip the tables a bit and get a bit of an intro from you, Timothy, because I'm seeing sort of Ace and Deb jump on, Jackie Jones, some of the people that are possibly from my world jumping on, and they'd like to know, who's this guy chatting to Ryan? What's he about? So I'd love you to give us an introduction and tell us about your website and the blogs you do, because having a look over it today, I was very impressed. I think it's amazing what you're doing as well.
Thank you. Yeah. So sometimes I forget that I'm involved in this whole process. So my name's Timothy Wenger, and I'm from The Man Effect, which is a photography and blog-based project I started back in 2014. And I founded the whole project based on one question, which was, if you were to describe what it means to be a man in one word, what would it be and why? And I just decided to interview hundreds of people. So I've been a street photographer. I've, done all that stuff. I'm currently traveling abroad and interviewing other cultures and stuff. And so my goal, kind of what I summarized down to, is helping create content to produce authentic and present men. That's just something I really want to help encourage. So that's my elevator speech.
I love it. No, thank you. Yeah. And inspiring it is. It really is. I'm not just saying that. I thought, it's great to have those conversations. Often as males, I think we miss that. We don't communicate. We bottle up our feelings. So Absolutely. to have an avenue where you can go and express your feelings is bloody cool. So I love what you're doing, man.
Yeah, I really want men to just have an emotional heartbeat, and to be okay with that. I've watched so many men flatline because they're scared of anything else other than anger, and so it's just shutting your heart out. But anyway, I could talk about that all day. That could take hours.
Yeah.
So why don't we jump in here? I would love to hear you answer that question I just said, which is, if you were to describe what it would be to be a man in one word, what would it be and why?
Confusion is what I'm going to go with. Okay. Which I was a bit iffy about saying, so I didn't want to have a negative spin if that can be perceived as negative. But I just feel, I was possibly going to say strength or strong or something that sprung to mind straight away. I thought, don't overthink it. When I think masculinity, what do I think? But and I'm just sharing here if I look a bit sidetracked. Sorry, I just thought I'd share to a few. I just realised how I could do it.
No, you're good.
So I'll stop doing that now.
If you need to take a moment and do it, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
I might that'll be the last one. I'll stop there. So,
Okay.
yeah, I just think in this day and age, we as males have lost that, where possibly in the past it might have been evident, we're the breadwinner, we're the, all these
Mm-hmm.
stereotypes where we, work hard all day, we come home, we crack a beer,
Mm-hmm.
we kick our boots off, perhaps, maybe in the industrial age or
Yeah, yeah.
even not that far back, but and perhaps today we're expected to be a what's the word when the guys are well groomed and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I just think we're a bit there's a bit of confusion about what a man is these days, especially perhaps between the younger generation that are coming through now. They probably spend perhaps more time doing their hair and manicuring their beard and their nice chiseled look or whatever before they go out. So, yeah, that's sort of my thought around it. I don't know if it's a bad thing. I just think perhaps we're in a bit of a early adopter phase of what a man's going to be in the future, maybe, if that makes sense. It's sort of, yeah. Do you agree at all, Timothy? Does that make sense, or am I talking, is that whack?
No. I think there's a lot of confusion around it because we've lived for years and years under a context of masculinity is just this thing that everyone assumes you know what it is. And so the second that we start talking about it, people realize, well, if this is socially constructed, then what are its origins and what's actually valid and what do I actually have to do and what don't I do? Like, do I have to be the alpha male or or what does it mean that I have to be myself? Or is it simply just the fact that if I have a penis, does that make me a man? Or are there other things? And I think there's a lot of confusion around it, and I actually really like that angle. I haven't heard that. That's the first time I've heard someone use confusion. So,
awesome.
I find that really fascinating. But,
yeah, and I think also I'm aware that the masculinity would vary from different cultures as well. So I was thinking it would perhaps even be different between what we grew up. A man in Australia might be a little bit different to, perhaps in the States or, or Serbia. I know you're not in the States as we speak, so, you're probably seeing that different culture perhaps there, to what masculinity would be there. I mean, all you need to do is look at some of the Asian cultures where it's natural for a guy to walk around with an arm on a shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
They walk around like you would with a girlfriend, perhaps in a not normal relationship, but a man and female relationship, I should say. Not a, but seeing males, and they're not. I think I first went to Asia in my late teens, and I remember seeing that and going, "Whoa," but was explained to me, "Oh, I don't think they're in a gay relationship. They're actually just buddies."
Yeah.
So that would be quite different to walking down the streets of Perth here as mates I went to school with.
I really do appreciate that too, though. I find it so interesting how different each culture is and what they accept as normal. And even just historically, like you go back a ways and it's just like totally different. So I really like that.
Yeah.
I'm curious though. So like as if you're observing this confusion personally, like in your own life, how do you navigate that? And how do you find a baseline to live by?
I guess it's slightly easier. I've been with my partner for 9 years and in that sort of role. And prior to that was in long relationships as well. So when I do think about confusion, I think it would be worse almost when you're meeting new people all the time, or you're perhaps in the dating scene and do I open the door? Do I not? Is that, I think it's always nice to have that chivalry.
Yeah.
even coming down to paying the bill and you know, like offering to pay the bill, and you might offend, no, why should you pay the bill? You know, I'm going to share it with you. Or so yeah, I just think you know, it's so personally, I guess I'm kind of fortunate because I kind of know the role that I've got. But saying that, I do strive to be more of that alpha male or that man, I guess. There's times there where I feel, you know, that I am a boy still. You know, I think I'd like to be more of a man. You know, and that has been expressed to me as well. You know, it's where there's selfishness coming out, or you know, no thought for the family. It's more I want to get this shit done, or you know, I'm sort of in that mode. It's like, well, come on, can you help out, or can you, you know, be that support role, not just Dan Caldas, been with my wife for 13 years, love being married, very cool.
That's awesome, Dan.
Yeah, Timothy, are you in a relationship, or what's your
Yes.
Are you sort of in the dating scene, or you're with a woman? What's your, or man? Like, what's your role?
You're like, oh shit.
I shouldn't assume.
Yeah, no, I'm in the beginning stages of a relationship right now, and so just been really appreciating that and not being on the dating scene. So
yeah, I find it doesn't suit me. You know, I don't desire for that. I actually feel for people that are going through that whole process myself. I know some people it suits them well, but I found as a male often, and it might be just me feeling that, but that women put their guard up because you do get stereotyped as a man that you're just being seedy. So there's been times there where I'm not trying to particularly bed that woman. I'm just chatting, and that guard does go up, and they're like, "I'm not interested, mate." And I'm like, "Oh, I was just asking how your day's been. I'm not." Yeah,
you're like, my bad.
I mean, maybe in my subconscious side there is an attraction to them, and but I guess in the forefront it's like I just want to chat sort of thing, and so I think that was part of me not enjoying that single life. So
that's interesting. So I'm curious, are you cool with going into the segue? I kind of want to keep going with this vein.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
definitely.
Wait, what did Dan just say? He said he hated dating and was looking fun. Oh yeah, Dan, that's awesome. Yeah, I've heard a lot of men say that they're just super pumped to get out of the dating scene. So I'm curious, in your own journey, like, to kind of go back to when your intro, you're like, you've done all these jobs, you've experienced a plethora, we'll say, of different types of industries. In the midst of all of that, two things. It's like, how do you stay motivated? Like, how have you stayed motivated to keep going? Because changing industries can be very overwhelming, in my opinion, because it's like a hard learning curve. So it's like, A, how do you stay motivated? And B, like, where are you finding your direction for what you're doing? Like, I'm really curious by that too.
I felt the motivation was more so in the start of a new job. I think my natural thing is I get bored over a particular time. So when I do start a new job, there's learning. I'm really intrigued. I'm like, you know, what's the whole process? How do you find you can do it better? You know, why are we doing it this way? All these questions come out, and as I'm learning, I find I am more of a hands-on sort of learning person rather than sitting, perhaps doing the orientation or the, you know, the written side of learning a new job. And then I do find there's a pattern there, which I wouldn't like future employers hearing if they were watching, but where I do over a certain amount of time get that boredom and do want to sort of move on and learn something new. It's like, is there an opportunity to grow in this profession that I'm in at the time, or have I kind of reached that peak of just going through the motions, and is it time for me to look at something new? So I think that has ups and downs, though. You don't ever possibly keep, going up. And then I guess motivation was a big part of enjoying what I'm doing now, because I realised that I don't have a lot of tickets behind me or letters behind my name or anything like that. So to move around a lot, you realise that you're not possibly going to get anywhere really, unless you someone sees something in you that you don't, and they say, do you want to be the boss or whatever it might be. So finding direct sales, finding marketing. I'm very interested in cryptocurrencies and the technology around it, blockchain technology.
Love blockchain.
So it's my motivation is that now. I could literally set my alarm if there was a webinar.
Oh no.
I think that was a notification, sorry. I do at times. I'll set my alarm because it's something from the States or something like that, and jump up and get on that webinar. So motivations. Sorry, I may have to turn off these notifications so that doesn't happen to us. So if you just bear with me a second, sorry.
No worries at all. It's the reality of life.
Hopefully I can. I'll just make that silent. Does that answer that question? I hope it does. I want to be mindful to not go off task too much.
So kind of what I was picking up is that you're inspired by being fascinated by something, and so that's in your learning curve. That's in the I don't know everything stage, and so it sounds like since there wasn't a lot of opportunity for growth once you hit your plateau, you kind of just moved on to the next thing. Is that right?
Yes,
okay.
Correct.
And so in going in life, so like say there's like a 18-year-old kid watching this, who's like just about to really get into careers and stuff. Like how would you, like, what advice would you give them? Would you advise them to go down the path you have of having these many different careers? Like I'm always just so curious because everyone takes such unique paths, and so I'm just curious to hear.
I don't have regrets with what I've done as such. I don't know if I could go back to myself and say, Ryan, this is the future, Ryan. You've just got out of school. This is what advice I'd give you, because if I didn't do all those jobs, I wouldn't. I mean, I often turn on the TV or I get chatting with a person now and I know about that industry. They might say, I'm a plasterer. Oh, are you white walling or are you rendering? Oh, I render. Oh, yeah, I've done that. And then I have a clear vision of what they're doing, what they're going through. I can relate to them. And similar with so many different industries. So I think that's really nice in terms of wanting to help people moving forward. I can relate to a lot of people. I don't judge people for what they do, because I've stood in a factory and made sure bottles go down a conveyor belt in between jobs. I've done that. Whatever. I've done it all, and so I think the only real advice I'd give to an 18-year-old is the finding the passion thing. And I know it probably sounds a bit of a cliche, but I just feel so strongly that even if I think jobs are great, it is great to have a job and it pays the bills and it has that regularity. Great to have a backing if you're into business, get MBA or get your ticket in a trade if that's what you want to do as well. So I'm not saying don't do that, but also have a plan B if that's what you want to do. And I understand that's not for everyone, but I mean, I've got an 18-year-old stepdaughter. I would love to get her into crypto and some other possibly residual income producing activities. But if that's not their world, or that's not an interest to them, then it's kind of pointless. It really is. So I guess it depends on the 18-year-old to what you tell them. But yeah.
I kind of like what Dan's saying here, the whole do what you love, do it well, give it 110%. Like, I have this saying about, it's like, if your dreams aren't motivating you, you need to throw them away and find new ones. Like,
Yes.
and so I think you're right. It really does depend on the person. So it's hard to give the advice. But I don't know. I was just curious because I haven't had 30 jobs. I've had a few, but I haven't had 30 jobs. So I was just like, man, I wonder. How would I phrase this? Sorry, just give me a second here. Also, anyone tuning
That's
in,
okay.
if you have a question or thought, please feel free to share. This is definitely, I would love for it to be interactive. Man, so your passion to like help motivate people and inspire them, like when you've hit hard times, like when you've hit that wall, when you feel like everything's just going to shit and you just need to give up, like when stuff actually gets real, where do you find strength in those moments?
I believe, and other people may not back me on this, but I believe naturally I'm quite a positive person. So I find it hard being around people that go, I hate my life, or this is just I'm not into what's happening. It's doomed. It's this. It's that. I tend to not have those thoughts, even if things are seeming like there's no way out. I still think, there'd still be something cool in being a bum, almost. Like you'd still find there must be a positive side to that, almost. You could get a lot more art done, or whatever your passion is, if you were, and I shouldn't use that word bum, but I mean, if you almost had no place to stay in, or you ended up homeless or something like that, there would still be a positive spin out of it. And we all have something that other people don't have and may want. And if you can, it might be, I don't know, how to fix a shoe or something, and someone else needs that done, or whatever it might be. Everyone is a professional or an expert on something, and they may not even know it. And I just think getting through the hard times, I feel in my heart of hearts I'm a good person. I even when I'm doing those jobs where people would go, what are you doing at the moment? I'm in a factory making sure bottles go through straight. Oh, okay. It doesn't worry me. I know they're judging me at that time. It's like I know I've got more in me than what I'm doing as a profession. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
So I guess in a short answer, without waffling too much, I think that would be the premise behind that is that we are not we're not the job we do, we're not the possessions that we own. So even if you do lose all that stuff, or it seems like there's 10 bills on the fridge, in 6 months you'll look back and go, oh, I had more bills than I did at the moment, and so be it, sort of thing. So just life will always get better, and it tends to happen when you do not expect it. In the sales world, even I've had, I sell gym and fitness equipment 2 days a week, and I've had, possibly 2 or 3 months ago now, a day where everything I touched turned to something smelly. It was really bad. I just couldn't sell a thing. And, I thought, what a stinker of a day. And we were 20 minutes away from closing, and an Italian couple walked in and said, we really want a home gym. So naturally, as a salesperson, I went to the best, and I thought we can work from there. And they were happy with with a really nice gym, and they ended up adding to that.
Wow.
So I think, that was possibly 6,000, just shy of 6,000. And we were supposed to be closed, and they left, and we'd done that deal, and another lady rocked up. The doors were still open. I hadn't had a chance to shut them, and she ended up spending $10,000. And yeah, she bought a $6,000 gym, an FT2. She bought a vibration machine, a cross trainer. Yeah, she just filled her garage with a gym. She said, I've worked away my whole life, and now I'm going to be working closer to home, and I just don't want to go to gyms, so I want all of that in my garage. And
wow.
So I could have just shut the doors early that day if I was allowed to, and or gone home early, or just you think of those times when you think, do I give up now, or do I just persist and persevere? And because anything can happen in life, it can turn like that, and you might have a $16,000 day when you thought you were going to have a $16 day.
Yeah.
So,
it sounds like you have more stories. Could you share like one more story of like that total surprise, like out of nowhere?
Yeah, and I've got to be a bit mindful of sharing stories, for that with that sort of profession. But I think one without talking about it too much is. We're asked to put ads on a platform where secondhand things are often sold. It's a mix. It's called Gumtree here in Australia. And, the company does advertising anyway, but as workers, we're kind of asked, can you put, maybe half a dozen ads on this platform, Gumtree, each day of some of the gym and fitness products that we're selling?
Yeah.
And, I've heard other workers say, man, why do we do this? Like, how many sales would we get from doing this? People are on Gumtree because they want cheap rubbish. They're not on there to buy a $2,000 cross trainer. And, I've always thought, no, all it takes is that one person to look at an ad and go, man, I've been wanting to fill my garage with a heap of gym equipment, and here's something in front of me. So I actually had it running on, I had a personal Gumtree account as well. So I was doing the ones for work, and I thought, while I'm at it, why don't I put some of my personal ads and put my ugly mug at the bottom with a bit of contact details as well. And ended up getting a gentleman in Fitzroy Crossing, which is the middle of nowhere over here in Australia. It's probably a good maybe 12 or 13-hour drive from where I am now. And maybe, I don't know how many people live in Fitzroy Crossing, not many though. But this gentleman wanted to train people there, and so that came in, and it ended up being I think a $14,000 deal or something. And I thought, if I hadn't have put that ad on, he just wanted a bunch of gear and wanted it done, and didn't even need to come in, it was just everything done over the phone. And we built that rapport, and he trusted me enough to make that purchase. So, whenever I hear newbies now saying, oh man, why do we have to do these Gumtree ads? It's like, keep doing them, man, because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah.
That's what I've done some pretty bizarre things in my life too. And it's just it's always fascinating to me how if you just push yourself, those limits that you think exist just disappear. And you realize, I can actually go a lot further. And this really odd random thing actually was the very thing I thought was going to fall apart, but came through for me. And I've had some of those experiences. I'm like, man, this is so weird. It's so contradictory to my own logic and reason. And so it's just what the heck? I love it. But I'm curious about all that stuff. So, man, so you're selling equipment right now. You said 18-year-old stepdaughter, and you've been married for 9 years?
Yeah, so my partner's the same age as me, and she had Michaela when she was 19, going on 20. Yep. So we've got an 18-year-old and then also a 5-year-old. Named Keisha.
Aw.
Yep. So big gap between them. However, the positive side was Michaela was a great babysitter and really caring towards her sister. So we bought her KFC many times on the way home from a movie or something to say thank you for babysitting. So we were lucky, but now we don't see her. Now she's hit 18. She's
gone.
She's out there. Yeah, she's out as we speak. She said, "Oh, it's going to end up being a bigger night than I thought it would." I'm like, "Oh, okay, here we go, another one."
What I'm curious. I don't have kids, so I'm curious. What are some things that have been exposed to you as a man, like in being a father and taking care of or having dependents like that?
Impatience would be the first word. But yeah. So I was the fun guy at the barbecues and the things where other people's kids, I'd go and play cricket with them or go and kick a football or do these activities with them. But then you get to give them back. And so I've always saw the fun side of being a parent or that role. However, didn't realise there's I wet the bed or I'm going to have to get up and change their sheets in the middle of the night or, wanting your attention when you're on calls like this. If I was trying to do this call when it was waking hours, just the fact that you're doing it would be dad. And you don't realise until you've got them that how annoying that can be. So I thought I would be an awesome father, and do have some great attributes, definitely. But it's definitely shown me the selfish side or the non-patient side of me, the impatient side, I should say. Yeah. So, but they, on a positive note, they do change your life, and until you have them, it is hard to understand. You can't express that love sometimes. You just think I could just eat you up almost. You're just thinking and especially when they're a baby, that smell when they're a little baby, that's that fresh sort of smell. It's hard to explain. It's just, you just want to inhale them. It's like, oh my goodness, this is so sweet. So, mixed emotions, definitely mixed emotions as a parent.
That's interesting. One of the questions I've asked a lot of people is, when was a moment in life that you felt most masculine? And I found a very common response to that with men who were married and had kids was when their kids were born, was the moment they felt the most aligned with that feeling. And I found that really fascinating. And so
I could see that, definitely. And I think perhaps the fears of, I guess it was a little bit different for me because Michaela was born already. She was nine years old when I came into her life. So I think, the nervousness of a newborn coming into the world does go away when they finally do come into the world. You're sort of thinking, well, how's this going to go? And the love and the fascination with how just perfect they are to you, it makes all that fear and how's this going to work and how am I going to deal with it, and any of those anticipations that are possibly negative in a way go away. You just think, oh man, this is great. This is so cool.
Oh yeah, check out what Dan said. Dan just said that the day my son was born was the first time I actually had a real sense of purpose, true purpose. That's powerful, Dan.
Yeah,
that's really intense.
Definitely. Very cool.
That's really interesting. So I like it, man. I'm getting a really
Timothy,
good. What's that? Oh, go for it.
sorry, I cut you off.
No.
I'm just interested. What's your don't have to say your exact age, but what age bracket are you in, and do you have a desire to have kids at some stage? Like, are you thinking you might want to do it at a certain stage, or are you open to it when it happens? What's your thoughts on being a parent?
Yeah. So I'm 29 right now, and
Yeah.
I would definitely love to have kids in the future. Not obviously right now, but hopefully in my early 30s. That would be my hope. Um, and I personally just have a desire to just nurture and love kids, specifically my own. I mean, I have four nephews and I adore them. Oh my God, they're amazing and they're crazy, and
Yeah.
I'm glad I can give them back at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
there's definitely this tenderness in my heart that is looking forward to being in that type of scenario as a father. So,
Yeah.
man, Dan, you're just blowing us up today. I'm loving it, man. It makes you want to be a
Definitely.
better person, huh? It makes you want to get up in the morning. That's interesting.
I'll add to that. That is one observation that I did find a little bit shocking, or not shocking is probably the word, but evident, is how much they soak up anything you're doing. So you do need to be mindful of the things that you do in front of them, and the things you say. That's one time when I say I wish I was more of an adult and not a boy. Is you can do something or say something and realize, oh, I've just done that in front of a little sponge that's actually soaking up everything that I do. So you do want to be mindful of it's
That makes sense.
they say, you can really, trying to think of it now. There was a really cool saying, and it wasn't really, I think it was more about what you do over what you say, but you could listen to the tree, but the true indicator is the fruit that it bears. And I think that is similar with kids too. You realize that, they are something from you, and it's not just in that physical form. It's a big part of, you hear some of the words come out and mannerisms and things like that. It's like, wow, okay, they've picked that up from me.
My brother was telling me he's just like so frustrated. He's like, oh, my son is so much like me and it's driving me nuts. I can't handle it. No, I just thought that was so funny. And how much that creates respect for our parents. And he's just like, I respect our parents so much more. And I was like, well, have you told them that? Like, because there's not a greater compliment than to go back to your parents and say, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate what you did. Because I understand more now. Cool. But oh man, Ace just headed out. See you later, Ace.
Yeah, Ace is I'm trying to think where they're based. They're over in the States. He says the land of Oz.
The land of
and
Oz.
I always think Australia, but where's Kansas? There you go. Yep, that's where they're from. Ace and Deb, lovely couple. Very nice.
Awesome. Also, Dan, if you complain and place blame on others, they will. Yeah, that's true. Dan just said if you complain and place blame on others, they will mimic their behavior, the behavior.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
One thing I did want to talk about, Timothy, was when it comes to males and children as well, I think, and maybe not just children, but it's kind of almost cool to have a view on women, and I think that's a little bit messed up. Even it's almost like peer pressure, even if you don't feel that, especially sort of boys that are late, before they go into high school sort of age, or around that early teen sort of age. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this or that to her, and all that peer pressure to do and talk about things that possibly aren't, it's not your morals or values.
Yeah.
And I think that's a common theme with boys that are growing up becoming men, you know, and I think that's a little bit sad, and it's possibly one of the things that I can see changing when that stereotype of what is a man, what's masculinity, you know, it's I think men are becoming more aware of, especially with social media and some of the programs that talk about not sharing, you know, sexting and those sorts of things. You know, they're doing programs around that can affect someone for life. It's for life and that sort of thing. So have you guys talked about that on any other interviews or anything like that? That sort of stigma around,
I'm trying to think.
you know, the way. No, what's
Not
your
really.
thoughts, Timothy? Is it? Do you sort of see that? I know it's a big thing in Australia to be, women, they should be in the kitchen, you know, cooking and that sort of sexism and you know, it's a little bit old school. I think at times changing a lot. But that's sort of an Aussie thing. It's like, oh, women should have their place and only, you know,
Oh my
all
God.
this sort of stuff. And I just think it's
Are they serious or are they just joking?
I think they're trying to fit a stereotype of what a boy should be. You know, it's almost cool. And then even the later teenage years, it's almost cool to be rough and a little bit bogan and, you know, wear a worker's singlet and grow their hair a little bit of a mullet style and be real rough and tough and all that sort of thing. And I just think I saw it with some of my friends. It wasn't them in primary school, and then all of a sudden they're being that role. And I just think it's sad because it's kind of a bad side of being a male, perhaps, where you're kind of expected to be a role that's not you. You weren't that as a boy, but all of a sudden you're, you know. And
I think so. There's a multitude of factors, and it's like so complex of a situation. But I just recently wrote an article on male friendship, and in there I cited a study where the author states that male friendship is a display of one's masculinity, right? And so how we interact with other men and how we expose ourselves as a display of who we are. And so it doesn't surprise me that there's this swinging of the pendulum in younger men's lives because they're extremely insecure and don't know who they are. And so I could see them absolutely compensating and trying to be this overly sized individual. And and that's how they interact. And it's kind of sad because there's not a good example probably, or their fathers could be detached. I don't really like the public education system, how you just ship your kids off. I'm more of like, I would love to see more interaction with parents and actual working. But I'm not really that in touch, honestly, with the below 18 world. So I haven't heard stuff about that really.
I think when I referenced that, you know, I've stopped doing it really now, but I used to surf daily. So you're kind of in the surf and you've got different age groups around you where you can overhear their conversations and things like that. And, you know, you'll hear boys talking about the festival on the weekend and, you know, and just... I know it's not, I can kind of, without even knowing them, know it's not their true self. They're kind of trying to impress their mates and say, you know, oh, you know, she's going to get it and all this sort of stuff. It's, oh, mate, really? You know, and
it's just bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
That's the kind of stuff I'm trying to advocate against, though, is that like that insecure, over macho, like bullshit. It's like it doesn't serve anyone, and you're just hurting people. And I got so frustrated with that when I was in the dating scene, like a lot, because women wouldn't give me an opportunity or want to do something because of a previous man being an asshole, just a complete asshole.
Yeah.
And it's like, so there's
Yeah.
a lot of these guys out there who are just effing it up for everyone else. And I'm really annoyed by that. And so I've been doing my own due diligence, be the change I wish to see. So, but that's kind of where I'm at.
I love it.
So,
Yeah. No, very, very cool. Excuse me. I've felt times there where I've taken a photo of a sunset. I remember a particular time when I was a driller's offsider. We'd jump in a big truck and we'd do pre-start and all these things. We'd fuel up the truck and we'd drive out about maybe 40 minutes to where the drill rig was.
yeah.
And often at times it was before the sun was coming up and vice versa, coming back in after the sun was sort of setting. So big 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
And in that culture, it's very alpha male, and to express, oh, what a beautiful sunrise. Look at the orange, the purple, the pink, and all these colors in this sunrise. And
Yeah.
I'm going to get a photo of it. It's like, so gay, man. So gay. It's like, what? Enjoying a sunrise, really?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and there may even be one or two of the guys on here watching, and similar in another mining job, got a nickname Freak because I'd just speak my mind, and like, oh, he's Freak, I'm like, come on, man, like, really? So it
that's ridiculous,
isn't it?
It makes me think about. Well, I was an electrician for 5.5 years, and I loved breaking people's perception of me, because I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm a photographer, and I run this website, and they're like, you do?
Huh.
And I'm like, yeah. Or I did spoken word for a while, and so I'm writing poetry and going to coffee shops and doing my thing, and people are just like, you do that? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And they're like, what? So I've been in some of those realms, construction seems to pull out the best in people when it comes to men. But
I hear you. Yeah.
Oil rigs have a notorious reputation, though, so I haven't experienced that personally.
Yep.
But dude, that's awesome, man. Well, let's bring it to a close. I want to be respectful of your time. How I like to end my interviews for the Man Effect Land is just one fun fact about yourself that most people don't know.
Oh, a fun fact. Okay. Oh, you've got me. And I'm happy to be vulnerable with it. I'm just trying to think what's a fun fact. Maybe if you give me, do you want something from childhood or something from my adult life? Doesn't matter.
Whatever pops into your mind. I got to come up with one too, and I'm trying to think here.
I guess one of my best memories of childhood, my mother actually won Mrs. Western Australia when I was about 12 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't a beauty contest. It was more of a fundraising, a whole package, really, basically. So Mum had raised $70,000 for Rocky Bay, which is for disability.
Wow.
Through big events and the like in a town called Karratha north of here, so about halfway up the state. And so, yeah, we're watching her on TV. I got babysat with a friend and we're watching her on the TV, and they said she won, and part of the award was to either, among other things, she won a brand new car and pearls and cutlery and all this package, but one of them was a trip to either the United Kingdom or the United States. And my parents were very unselfish, even though they would have loved to have gone to the United Kingdom with all the old history and that sort of thing, they thought the kids would love the United States.
Yeah.
So they took that option, and they paid the extra money to take my sister, who's 4 years younger than me and myself.
Uh-huh.
And we had a month on the west coast of the state.
What?
So yeah, it was really cool. So
That's super cool.
And I was going through puberty, so I look at all the photos and I'm like this, and I'm on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I'm seeing Shamu at SeaWorld, and going to Disneyland and doing all these fantastic things. We went to Hawaii, and I've got this bottom lip that's hanging down like it's the worst thing ever. And I look back now and think, what a trip. So
the blunder days for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
that's a really cool random thing. That's awesome.
Yeah. I thought it'd be good to share with you, being from the States. I thought, what part of the States are you from?
So I grew up in like Minnesota and Pennsylvania. So, but I lived on the West Coast for 3 or 4 years, probably a cumulative. So I lived in Northern California. I've also lived up in Washington. So I love the West Coast.
Yeah.
So my fun fact or random fact is the first time I went to the Grand Canyon, I was by myself. It was like 5 a.m. and I was like, man, I got to make this memorable because I'm by myself and I have nothing to do. So I decided to pee off the cliff at 5 a.m. by myself when no one was around. And I was like praying to God that upwind wouldn't come and spray my pee back into my face.
That could have turned things differently very quickly. Oh, that's awesome, Timothy.
Anyway, well, man, dude, thank you so much for obliging me and letting me poke at you and ask you questions. I really love your story and just your passion. I love your positivity, and I hope that everyone who's watching has enjoyed this. Is there anything you want to say or plug anything you want people to check out?
Not overly. I did have a website going, which I was blogging on and was a little bit salesy. So I've not gone with that path now, and thought a great way to connect with people is through Messenger. I think where, email, I find there's so much coming in with email, and I'm not rubbishing email, but so I'm gone down that path now. So it's ryanbillytate.com. If you do want to receive content, 95% of it is just value. If you've got an entrepreneurial mind, or you're motivated and you want to be inspired to have a plan B that might turn into a plan A. 5% might be me saying there's a webinar on this. It's something you might want to look at. But the rules with chat bots and that sort of thing is that you need to want to go ahead with that. So there's normally an option. Do you want to hear more? If not, no, and then you don't see anything salesy. So that would be a great way if people want that sort of thing. So ryanbillytate.com, and that'll feed into Messenger. And yeah, a lot of it is automated, but if you ask a question, it'll be me answering. I'll jump in and answer the questions. And so that's that one. And then it's a little bit scarce at the moment, but Grow, GRO with Ryan, Grow with Ryan, is a link to my YouTube. So a lot of my videos are on Facebook at the moment. I enjoy videos, probably my main thing that I enjoy doing with giving the content. But if people are wanting to see the videos, I thought that's a better spot probably. So I'll upload most of my videos to YouTube moving forward as well. So perhaps they want to jump on there as well. But I really appreciate that, Timothy. I'm sure it's in the writing, but what was the name of your website, please, again?
So the name for my website is themaneffect.com. So
themaneffect.com. Beautiful.
And I'll add all those links
Excellent.
in the description too for everyone who's watching. Dude,
Yeah.
thank you so
So
much.
my-
I really appreciated it. And
No, thank you, Timothy. Me too. And I'll be happy to stay in contact with you. I really like your vibe and yeah,
awesome, man.
yeah, I'm stoked, man. Really
All
cool.
right. All right. Well, everyone, this is Timothy Wenger from The Man Effect, episode 11, I think it was. And tune in for the next ones, I guess. All right, man. I'll talk to you
I
later,
certainly
okay?
will. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye,
Peace.
everyone.